Welcome back, readers. Let's continue on with our story. And remember, the whole time we are reading, think about where are you seeing and feeling your schema, your experiences, your personality, and how are you connecting to the story. At choosing time, while the other kids play board games and read, Brian sits at his table doing what he loves to do best. He draws fire-breathing dragons scaling tall buildings, greedy pirates digging for treasure, space aliens locked in intergalactic battles, and superheroes with the power to make friends wherever they go. What text-to-self connections are you making? On Monday morning, Mrs. Carlotti introduces Justin, a new student, to the class. Brian smiles shyly at him. Some of the other kids sneak looks at Justin, trying to figure out if he's cool enough to be their friend. They haven't quite made up their minds yet. What do you see? At lunch, Madison and JT watch Justin eat with chopsticks. "What's that?" asks Madison as she points at Justin's food. "It's bulgogi." What? It's bulgogi. It's Korean barbecued beef. My grandma made it for me. It's really good. Do you want to try some? "There's no way I'd eat bulgogi." And the kids laugh. All of them, that is, except Brian. Oh, look at his cute lunch bag. He sits there wondering, which is worse, being laughed at or feeling invisible? The next day, when Justin goes to his cubby to put away his backpack, he notices a piece of paper with his name on it. Justin: "I thought the bulgogi looked good." Brian: "Yum." Remember, what are you relating to? What are you connecting to? At morning recess, Brian finds a piece of chalk on the ground and starts drawing away. "You're Brian, right?" "Yeah." "Thanks for the note." "Hey, Justin," Emilio calls out from the tether court. "You're up next." "Sorry, I gotta go," says Justin. "By the way, that's a really cool drawing," he adds before taking off. And some of our favorite part is noticing this amazing change in Brian. And that's what a great thing to think about even for ourselves, a text to self. Can you relate to how Brian is feeling and how that color is coming about him and what that means? Have you felt that before? Back in class, Mrs. Carlotti asked the kids to team up in 2s or 3s for a special project. The kids scurry around the room to pair off. Brian heads toward Justin. "I'm already with Justin," says Emilio. "Find someone else." Brian looks at the floor, wishing he could draw a hole right there to swallow him up. So think about that. What two got like event after event after event? Think about your life. Have you ever experienced something where you just kind of wanted to be swallowed up by a hole? Think about that. Mrs. Carlotti said, We can have up to 3 people in our group. We're only 2. Come on, Emilio. Let him work with us. Okay, I guess. Mrs. Carlotti gives the class directions for the project. Your assignment is to work together to write a story about what you see in that photograph. Use your imagination and have fun. Wow, cool, says Emilio. What kind of people do you think would live in houses like that? I don't know, but I bet Brian could draw them to go with our story, says Justin. Brian smiles as he takes out his lucky pen. And think about what you're seeing with characters, what they're doing, and even just the smiles of being among friends, and even the setting of being in school. Does it remind you of something, readers, in your life? And here they are. Does it remind you of any projects that you've done in school? The crook story we made up on the spot. Here's their story. It's lunchtime again, Brian's least favorite part of the day. Another 20 long minutes of kids talking and laughing with everyone else but him. Brian, he hears someone shout. Hey, Brian, over here. Brian turns and sees Justin waving him over. Emilio nods at Brian as he makes room for him at the table. Any connections? Maybe, just maybe, Brian's not so invisible after all. Cookie? Hey, thanks. Look at everything that's happening between the characters. Maybe the drawings on a bag, the sharing of food. Does that trigger any connections for you? I hope so. Because this is your time to tell me. We're going to stop story, and you are going to make a connection. What in the story reminded you of? What connected to your life? What part made you think about? What strong connection did you have? So let's go back a little bit to where we started. And take a quick picture walk as you move to writing your last text to self connection. Think about what are things reminding you of. Here we have a new student, cafeteria, lunch, passing a kind note, playing at recess and drawing, picking partners, and actually in one moment where he felt like crawling into a hole. And then we started to see a great change here for Brian, no longer feeling invisible. What about you? Ever have one of those moments too? What is one thing that you have connected to personally? Please take this time to write out on your paper in Seesaw. Remember 2 to 3 sentences explaining your connection. Please pick which prompt you are starting with in your sentence and then explain what you connected to in the story. Happy connecting, readers.